my presentation was heavily focused on innovation related to technology. But technology, as we all know, is much broader than innovation is much broader than technology. So, starting with you, Tatiana, what is your view? What makes innovation in hospitality?
Good morning, everyone. First of all, thank you for making it here on such an early morning. And thank you for being interested in this industry that we all love so much and dedicated so much time of our life to. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to set the tone for this discussion. I think to most people in the room, it seems very clear that hospitality is not the cutting-edge industry. It's really the centuries-old concept of people hosting other people in their homes. That's really what it is.
Time's up.
Wake-up call. I'm done, right? Okay. But, well, the concept has evolved, of course, somewhat. But there are really many things that, although they're not as cutting-edge and not as newsworthy as some innovation in some other industries, about hospitality that are going on behind the scenes in our industry that actually do make it a very innovative industry and a very cutting-edge industry. So I'll just go through a few of these things just to give you guys an understanding. Seems we all know that this is not a room full of hoteliers. Some of them may be a little bit passé in a professional environment where everyone understands the industry. First of all, I'll start with service. And Olivier, I think you set a very good stage to this in your presentation. So I would say that 10, 20, 30 years ago, good service meant faster service, more efficient service, more technologically advanced service. But today, the industry has evolved and people and the pace of the world evolved, and the way that travelers experience the travel and the destinations has changed. And now great service means a lot more human interaction, a lot more personalization, and a lot more emotion. And that's something that definitely no technology, at least as of yet, can give to people. I don't think I need to talk about design or concepts here in this room. It is very clear that buildings in general and hotels along with them are becoming a lot more inventive, creative, cutting edge, innovative. That's clear. And hospitality follows there just as well as any other type of real estate industry. I mean, concepts are also a long way away from a classic Hilton or a Marriott style hotel room. Nowadays, I think industry is shifting because the tastes of the consumers and the travelers and our guests are shifting, right? I mean, concepts like the moon resorts, for example, we have departed a very long way from the classic hotel room. Obviously, industry is innovating on the front of sustainability constantly. We are using less water, we're becoming a lot more energy efficient, we're building hotels with roofs and walls as solar panels and trying to be very self-sufficient when it comes to producing energy and consuming as little of it. Constantly striving for preservation and rebuilding nature where we can, etc. A lot of the giga projects in this country, for example, are an excellent sample of that. Also, which I think not many understand, is hospitality is constantly innovating in terms of the relationship models between hotel brands and hotel owners. And that is also a huge innovation because it really means the adaptation to the type of the owner. If before hotels were owned by big real estate funds, etc., and really people who owned the bricks were also managing hotels and branding hotels, then the industry moved to HMAs, hotel management agreements, then to franchises. Now various hybrid models such as manchises started to appear and are becoming a lot more prominent. We're going to JVs, marketing collaborations, etc. I mean, you can hear of a hotel branded as almost anything in the world now, as a brand of a car, as a brand of of luxury fashion, as a brand of, I don't know, a bag and whatever else. I think all of that is to come. We're ever changing the way we work with owners as the industry. Now, another huge area is where hospitality is innovating is distribution. In hotels, distribution is how to bring guests to the rooms, how to bring guests to the hotel. We have always been where the customers wanted us, and the most innovative customers wanted us. Back in the days, it was telephone and fax. Some of you in the room maybe remember how to use the fax machine. Websites later. Aggregators like Expedia and Booking.com. GTS for business, mobile applications. I mean, really anything. And the industry never held back on adopting any type of technology, which helped to bring the guests home. And we have been as innovative as any other. And you know, also, compared to, for example, our friends in the banking industry, that's my usual pain point, trying to get in touch with a bank. We have not only adopted the new technologies, but we also kept all of the old ones and all of the old channels of communication open. Property management systems, I mean, I think there is also a lot to talk about here, how we build innovative buildings and what is the work that goes on behind the scenes of every hotel and every building. It's hard to imagine. It is a state of art that removes the potential of a human error from most transactions, as Olivier was saying. Property management systems of a standard hotel are a lot smarter than most humans that work in a hotel, including the people that are running it. Honestly. Guest experiences. It is very hard to find another industry which is as focused on doing everything to go out of their way to please the guest as hotels. Try to get a free upgrade in an airline, okay? And I wish you luck with that. In hotels, any little sneeze or hiccup, and the guest is demanding an upgrade or an amenity, and we're giving it to them. And there is obviously technology that's supplementing this effort. So I'm wrapping up. I know we don't have a lot of time left. I guess the last but not least point that I want to make is we do all of this and we continue to innovate and strive in one of the lowest paying industries where people work the longest hours, industry that is extremely emotionally demanding of the people who work in the hotel, and the industry that gives the lowest ROI to the investors, unfortunately, if some people thought that it is very profitable to build hotels. So I think really the dedication of everybody who is concerned and who is innovating in this industry is deserving of a huge monument. I'm done, thank you.
Thank you, Tatiana. That was a very broad overview of or insights into innovation. Now, the great thing about this panel is that it's a very diverse panel. So Tatiana represents the consultancy background. Imran, developer. They're building a lot of hotels in Diriyah Gate, as you know. Rachana is the co-founder of an amazing technology solution for hotels. And then finally, Elie represents the operator side, because as Tatiana said, in the hospitality industry, and most of you will know that, the operators no longer own the hotels, right? It's different organizations. So, Imran, from your perspective, what makes innovation in hospitality? What are the main components?
Thank you, Olivier, and great to have been present over here, and thanks, Tatiana, for setting the tone. I think taking two key messages from the presentation that you had, which described it very well, the difference between transactional and experiential aspects of the hospitality. My personal view is that there's always, innovation should never be for the sake of innovations. I mean, I'm an operator at heart. I mean, that's what I've done 26 years of my life. And you cannot expect, or you should not expect, hotels to throw innovation for the sake of innovation. There are two elements in my humble opinion. One is the purpose and the function. The purpose of the customer, why the customer is coming to you to basically patronize the object or the product or the service. Whether it's buying a car, what's the purpose of it? And the function of it. Does it function? Does it function and serve the basic need? Function of a car is to run, to take you from point A to point B. The purpose is for leisure, my pleasure, work, where I'm going for economical, where I'm going for luxury or whatever. So function and the purpose have to be aligned. But then you cannot throw innovation for the sake of innovation. I've worked in hotels where we loaded up the hotel room with unnecessary gadgets because we thought that was being innovative. Without naming a hotel, I've personally worked and I had the pleasure of being the hotel manager where we had gold-plated iPads. What's the purpose of that? People have their own content. People would like to share their own or see their own and listen to their own content. They do not want to enter their logins and sign-ins into your devices, for example.
I remember, 20 years ago, when internet was still in infancy, many hotels introduced keyboards in rooms which were connected to the TV. But I have never seen a guest using the internet on their
Most
TV. It was
frustrating.
not a good experience.
Absolutely. So there are few examples of that where we threw innovation, in the name of innovation, gadgets at the customer, whether without realizing what's the function of it and what's the purpose of it and whether the guest is going to actually utilize it or not. So I guess the balance between remembering what the function of the product and service we're selling and what the purpose of that customer is, if we can strike that balance and offer the innovation accordingly, as you rightly said, light switches or the lighting function, the sound function, and the discrete elements that should be there without guests having to struggle. I think if we can get the basics right, and another brand says it very well when they say, first get it right, get the basics right, and then get me right as a customer. So if you get it right, it means functioning is fine. Everything works the way it is supposed to work. Then try to get the customer right. And when you balance those two things, you will create many wow moments, as you were kindly alluding to. So in summary, innovation should not be, in just my humble opinion, for the sake of innovation. That innovation is not the name of the gadgets. Innovation is not the name of all those apps and applications. And let me remove the compendium. You were saying, Tatiana, earlier that, and I agree with you, decluttering is very important. But every most basic elements of it. A room service menu, maybe you don't want to browse through the TV, to go through that. How about keeping a very nice bespoke menu, separate barcode or something? So that's what my 2 cents would be, that innovation should always keep in mind the function, intent, and the purpose of what is being delivered over there in the first place.
Thank you. Rachana, so obviously you are very much focused on technology.
Yes.
And the capabilities of Digivalet are quite impressive. But in your view, what does a hotel need in addition to a solution like Digivalet to be considered innovative?
Right. So of course, since I'm representing Digivalet, and Digivalet has been keeping all our customers on the forefront of technology, so I'm not going to handle this question from the technology point of view, but a profound observation that we have since last 7-8 years of doing hotels, that we have been approached by hospitals, we have been approached by residences, we have been approached by, let's say, the co-working spaces, to have our solution, not because it's Digivalet, it's because we have been doing hotels, which means that all of these industries, all of these assets are looking for hospitality services to be included into your offering. And that's a huge opportunity, I would say, for hotels and hospitality to go out of their box and start unbundling the hospitality and deliver those hospitality services to all of these mixed-use assets and blend that business model. I think that's the greatest opportunity at this point in time the world has for, hotels and hospitality. Thank you.
Thank you. Elie, you are representing one of the biggest hotel organizations in the world, Radisson Hotel Group. So how does Radisson see innovation?
Again, my point of view, and my panelists said most of it, so they've covered most of it. I look at it as a cycle from a development perspective all the way to the guest. And yes, it has to make sense. Our phones cannot take up too many apps anymore. It has to make sense. I look at it from a development perspective. First of all, with innovation, you cover new design, you cover efficiency, you cover new branding, you cover different asset classes, service apartments, lifestyle hotels, economy hotels, resorts. You cover different contract types, which you touched on, Tatiana, which we are evolving. Innovation is a reason to remain competitive. If we don't innovate, we lose ground. And that covers every single aspect of the cycle. Moving on to the development side, responsible business, environmental awareness. Moving on to the cost efficiency, cost optimization, revenue management systems, when you talk about IT and different aspects of it, when you talk about the guest experience. So for us, innovation is not only a purpose and function, but it's also a need to keep competitive. That's one way I would summarize it.
Okay. Now, we touched briefly on the fact that nowadays, those who manage hotels, who operate hotels, are not those who own hotels. And Radisson is in that category. So innovation, especially when it comes to technology, is often entails some investment. So when a developer builds a hotel, they find an operator, and then they will sign what we call a technical services agreement and a management agreement with other agreements. But the management agreement is for once the hotel is open, but the technical services agreement is really having the operator advise the developer on how to build and how to design this hotel according to standards. And this is where you then advise developers to invest into innovative technology. How do you go about it? How do you convince owners that it makes sense from a guest experience perspective, from a sustainability perspective, to be innovative and to spend that money, which will increase the construction budget?
Yeah, that goes to the heart of a relationship with an owner. That's how the relationship is set from the very beginning, and obviously covers so many things. When it comes to the development side, we have to convince owners why the color of a headboard has to be in a certain way, let alone everything else, right? So it's an ongoing discussion to be functional. We have our brand standards, but we are business-oriented. If it makes business sense, we can deviate from brand standards. When it comes to necessary items, if you want to be competitive, if you want embassies and NGOs to stay at our hotels, we need to tick certain boxes. We need those sustainability elements to be met, those security elements to be met. We need to tell owners why it is beneficial to have a development, why it's beneficial to have recycling water systems, why it's beneficial to have more efficient back-of-house areas, why it's beneficial to have centralized revenue management systems. It's an ongoing discussion, and from my experience, the best way to convince an owner is to look at two things. The business element of it, of the revenue generation and all of that, why embassies would stay with us, why guests would stay with us, and cost. It might cost you more today. It's a bigger discussion than that. With owners, it's about why do I have to pay $1 million, $2 million for designers and security assessment and all of that. Yes, it's going to cost you $1 million, $2 million today, but it's going to save you hundreds of millions in the future. That's the best way to approach it. It's not an easy discussion, but it's an ongoing dynamic that we have with owners.
Okay. Please, go ahead.
Just a quick add-on to this, because as an asset manager, we very often stand between the owners and the brands in order to try to combine the two universes in some way. And Elie, you're absolutely right in saying that it is really all about the business case. It's about very simple math of ROI versus of investment, capex involved, or maybe it's an FF&E item versus what the owner is going to get from this. And a lot of items are not very easy to quantify, unfortunately. But I think most of the hotel operators, as well as hotel directors of finance, etc., are able to put a number on almost everything that happens in the hotel. And it's not only about the pure profit money on the bottom line. It may also be reflected in, for example, the longevity of the property, meaning how functional it will be 12 years from now, or you're going to have to reinvest into it 6 years down the road if you don't do it today. Right, and as well as it is about building the capital behind that property. How much is going to be worth in 25, 30 years? Is it going to appreciate or depreciate if you don't invest today? So it's all about money, and this is kind of the question that can be tackled from different standpoints.
Yeah, I agree. So I was in operations many years in hospitality. I was a general manager and then took care of a region. And Rachana, I think one of the reasons why, or there are a couple of reasons why hospitality is not state-of-the-art when it comes to technology. One is fragmented systems, right? We have a lot of different systems who don't talk to each other. They operate in silos, and it's very difficult to link them to each other. The second, and I've experienced that many times, when trying to convince owners to invest into technology, they would say, wait, because it's changing so fast, right? So if I invest into some technology today, it will be obsolete next year. The problem is that next year we'll be in the same situation. So then we keep kicking the can down the road and we don't invest. It's true that developments in technology are very dynamic, very fast, right? I mean, it changes all the time. How do we make sure that owners are comfortable investing into technology, not being concerned that they will have to replace the system they buy today in 18 months again?
Yeah, I mean, we have also faced these challenges a lot of times. I would say the need is to change the mindset. So people think that, I have to invest in technology and then I have to future-proof this investment. It's not like that. You have to invest in technology because you have to future-proof your business, right? So the technology is the only thing which can actually future-proof your business. And I will give you some examples. So when COVID happened, we were flooded with a lot of inquiries because hotels wanted to implement contactless check-in and, the mobile keys and food deliveries, open their restaurant for, grab and pick up, etc. We had probably, 1,000, 2,000 inquiries, but not a lot of them could execute it just because they did not had the right technology to act in time to be able to change their revenue model suddenly and to make sense out of, whatever the business was able to come. So technology is no more a choice. I mean, technology is an enabler for your business, and the thing that technology is dynamic and soft, can be changed, can be adapted, goes in favor of technology because that is the only thing that you can change and remain relevant. Why you might have spent in, hard things like bed, linen, laptop, computers, minibar, which has defined life. You have to change them after 5 years. But technology is something that you invest, remain invested, you change, you mold, adapt, evolve, grow, and it will grow with your business and it will actually enable your business. So I think we as the industry need to coach and need to evangelize that, like banking and manufacturing are using technology as enabler, the hospitality also has to look at technology in that way. So that I would say, and then, some of the forward-thinking vendors are now providing solutions on recurring model, SaaS model, which addresses the concern of technology being, obsolete. I mean, you can get the refreshes, you can get the updates every year as technology is changing. You pay the fee for, annual fee, and then you get the next versions, next update. So you also remain current with respect to the technology. So that's how it has to be solved, but not investing in technology is not a choice.
Yeah, that's I think an important point that technology nowadays means less one-time investment and more a recurring cost, which probably, and Elie, I don't know if you have any comments on that, gives owners more comfort into going into a technology because they know it will be updated all the time. I have less of a risk of obsolescence, and then if I want to get out, I can get out without this one-time investment.
Yeah, I mean, we recently launched a couple of years ago, our new PMS system, which we call Emma. It's more dynamic, more scalable. It's a cloud-based system, and the idea is to the investor that it's not an outsourced system where the servicing is more difficult and more expensive. It's an in-house system where the servicing is easier and less expensive. So the initial installation cost is the same, but then the servicing cost is more responsive and less costly for the investor. So to Rachana's point, it's exactly what we do with our PMS, and that's exactly the way forward. Again, real estate is a long-term investment. It's about 10, 20, 50 years. You either sell it after a few years or you pass it on from generation to generation. So these are elements that you need to do to keep your value optimized for your real estate asset. Otherwise, if you keep cutting corners here and there, you won't get the value that you want at exit.
Okay. So for the non-hoteliers among us, PMS is the property management system. It's really the heart of the house. It's the system that has, that collects all the information from the reservation system, from the room occupancy, etc. So it's a key tool for hotels. Imran, I envy you because all your hotels will be new, right? How many hotels were announced in the first wave? 14?
We were now 16.
16. So you're in the lucky position of starting with a white sheet of paper. You have no legacy systems. You have no fragmented systems. You can do whatever you want and be innovative from the beginning. How is Diriyah Gate using that incredible opportunity?
No, thank you. First of all, sometimes old technology works better than new technology. So thank you, Tatiana. We do have a very good positioning when we are creating right from the scratch. Diriyah itself, and those of you who have the privilege of knowing what Diriyah is not just a giga project being created just for the real estate value proposition purpose. Diriyah is more personal to Saudi nationals. Diriyah is more pride. It's more about the national significance of Diriyah and what Diriyah is all about. So we have to be respectable to that essence, to that purpose. The essence is that Diriyah is centuries-old history. It goes all the way back. The Saud dynasty itself goes 300 years back. So as a starter, what we have to do is to pay homage, pay tribute to that essence of Diriyah being a city of earth, organically evolving, and through its own vernacular architecture that it is what it is today and what we are trying to do. First essence of that is sustainability and respect to the environment that is being created in. So from our standards, from when we talk about the opportunity to incorporate and embed the sustainability elements into it, we have thought about broader sense of sustainability. It's not just about environmental aspects of it or social aspects of it, but cultural aspects of it, sustainability of governance, sustainability of societal, sustainability of human capability, sustainability of what we have to offer to showcase to the world coming to the kingdom. So from the basic architectural level, construction, public realm, sites and all that, those who are interested in those elements, absolutely all boxes ticked. We have a pre-certification at LEED Platinum level. So that's to start with. We have also got into Musanda from a gold level. So we have got those basics set up. But what we've also done is we have learned from the past of what this Najd architecture and this environment has evolved. It has got lessons for us today and for future as well. To give you an example, we have seen in the design principles of what we are designing right now that what was good 300 years ago, 400 years ago, still is good today because they thought about sustainability. They thought about utilizing the aspects of what's available. To give you a small example, instead of thinking always about harsh climate, hot climate, AC, and investing in, why not design elements are incorporated in taking advantage of the natural environment, such as passive ventilation, such as creating courtyards, such as creating that ventilation and the circulation of the air through those specific elements that are related to this particular Najdi architecture. So we've gone right from the construction models, public realm, site and architectural certifications, but we've gone a step further into those aspects as well.
Okay. Can we talk about people for a minute? Because hospitality without people is unthinkable. And in my opinion, the fully automated hotel will be a niche business in the future. I don't see hospitality moving into full automation because then you lose the spirit and the soul of hospitality. So in my presentation, I spoke about transactions versus services versus experiences and how people can deliver experiences better than technology. But if we look at the role of humans in the context of innovation, and I remember as a general manager benefiting a lot from ideas coming from my team, which were different, which were innovative, and really greatly improved the guest experience. Any of you, what are your views on the importance of humans when it comes to innovation and hospitality?
Well, if my mic works. I absolutely believe that humans are at the core. Technology and innovation through various aspects or gadgets or appliances are enablers. The deliverers are the experiential at the end of the day. I'm talking about hospitality, especially since we are talking about that aspect. Human will remain at the core essence of delivering that. Because yes, as you rightly said earlier in your presentation, Olivier, that depending on which level, which tier of the hotel, the positioning that you're talking about, there may be more appetite or less appetite for going fully automated or less automated. But at the end of the day, when you talk about hospitality, the aspects of hospitality, especially in the region we are sitting in, it starts from the warmth of the people, the interacting people. Yes, the people need to be enabled, like the example that you gave about the pool attendant being able to cater to your need. That is the technology that the human is using to deliver to your expectations. But I believe absolutely the human were, are, and will remain the core of delivering in hospitality. Definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah, and if I can add to that, maybe call me old-fashioned, but I don't believe in robots. So you may have a robot in one hotel here, one hotel there. It may be serving a basic function, but you still need to deal with people. I mean, we as a company, we're working to be in the top 3 companies worldwide to do business with, to stay at, and to work for. And these all involve people. You do business with people, you welcome people, and you have people serving people. So it all comes to that. And then how would the staff, how would people implement technology or innovation in a broader scale, is that whenever we or another hotel company launches a plan, whether it's sustainability or social responsibility, it trickles down to the individual on the ground that executes that strategy. And that we cannot live without, that we cannot do without, and that will continue, again, call me old-fashioned, for as long as hospitality stays, we will have that in the industry.
Mm-hmm.
I'd just like to add a couple of words to that. I think you were right on the spot saying that where it is the transaction, technology should and can come in and replace or complement the human to remove the possibility of errors, to take out the unnecessary work hours, etc. And where people will continue being at the core is delivering the service, providing the warmth, and creating an experience and emotions for the guests, which is why, rightfully so, many hotel brands and companies started hiring for personality and are starting to remove the SOPs, the standard operating procedures, and the protocols from training of their employees. They are not even teaching, but trying to allow people to be people, and people that are naturally hospitable. Like, for example, in this region, I think this is one of the best regions in the world. I've traveled to about 80 countries for hospitality because it is an honor and a privilege to receive a guest. And all you need to do is you need to take out those long and hard hours and allow people to be welcoming, hospitable, and be themselves. And I mean, I think technology has a potential of being a huge enabler of that. I mean, I'm honestly dreaming of a robot that cleans rooms.
Dreaming of what, sorry? clean.
Elie, coming back to what you said previously, so you deal with many different hotels on a day-to-day basis, right? How many hotels do you have in your region?
It's, Middle East only, 75 hotels in operation under development.
Yeah, so
50% in Saudi Arabia.
50% Saudi Arabia, okay. So I'm sure if you look at all your hotels, you probably see some as being more innovative than others?
More,
Is
sorry?
that-
Innovative.
Some more innovative than others. What would you say is the difference between innovative hotels and less innovative hotels?
Mature markets versus developing markets. So, for instance, Dubai has been more innovative because it's more mature than Saudi Arabia. If you look at the two, let me give you, put things in perspective. Dubai has around 150,000 hotel keys. The entire Kingdom of Saudi Arabia, which makes up 20% of the GDP of the MENA region, has 150,000 keys. So Dubai developed much earlier. I'm using these two
Of
examples.
which half are in Mecca and Medina, right?
Correct,
So cities
yeah.
like Riyadh have
So
like
can you imagine the
15,000
potential, five
yeah.
times more? So the idea is, I'm using those as examples just to say that Dubai became the hub for the region, more innovative, but in the 90s it was Bahrain, in the 70s it was Beirut, so it evolves, right? So the idea is because once the market is mature, then they got the basics right, they got the conventional hotels in, the luxury hotels in, and they've set the infrastructure. This allows them to become more creative, more innovative, different training models, different ideas. I think that's the main reason. And now that Saudi Arabia is developing, innovation is taking a different scale with the new developments, the Diriyah Gate, the Red Sea development, PIF initiatives, the government initiatives, tax incentives, that will allow Saudi Arabia, for instance, to become more innovative across all aspects, technology, people, sustainability, and everything else.
Okay.
I think it's also about the fact that Dubai had 40 years to slowly create the competition within the market, right? So it was slowly becoming more and more innovative, more and more inventive, etc. Here in Saudi, it's all happening now. It's all happening at once, and I don't think the industry here has a choice than to be innovative from the beginning. So I'm pretty sure that whatever you guys are developing here is a lot more innovative than what you would be developing in a lot of other places around the world right away. And it not only pertains to technology, but pertains to all aspects right away, to the brands, to the business relationships, to the concept, to the designs, etc.
Okay. Rachana, how many hotels have adopted Digivalet across the world?
Across the world, we have done approximately 60,000 plus hotel rooms, which is using our solution. Yeah.
What can you say about the reception by a hotel team when Digivalet is introduced? Right? Let's say a hotel or hotel company decides to adopt Digivalet. They didn't have this digital solution previously. How does the hotel team, starting with the general manager, because very often it's not the general manager, him or herself, who makes that decision to implement Digivalet. But then also, how does it trickle down to the hotel team? Do they feel threatened? Do they feel that it's too complicated? Because I've seen some pretty difficult situations introducing technology into hotels where it was not well received. So what can you say about that and advise developers when it comes to this?
And you're right. I mean, it's a fair observation that sometimes people are, threatened or feel scared of, using the technology, or the technology is going to be overhead and, probably improve or increase their burden of day-to-day task. And the other is, of course, the technology replacing people. I would say that's a very, very myopic view of looking at it. Recently, I mean, the hotels that we have worked with, I would say the hotel team is our biggest fan, because the kind of tools and the kind of information that we are giving to them so that they are able to serve their customers better is enormous. I'll just give you an example. Let's say, if you walk into, let's say one of the hotels that we have done in Paris, the assistant, the front office assistant, has an iPad on which he can exactly say that this person walking in is Mr. Olivier, and he likes to do fitness routine in the morning. So accordingly, I can speak to you, good morning, welcome Mr. Olivier, we have already kept a fitness equipment in your room because we know that's that's your daily routine.
I think she already has your record.
Sounds like it.
So those are the kind of information. So what is happening is that hotels already have a lot of personal data about the guest, but the data is residing in silo systems. There is no effort being made to take out the data from spa system, from restaurant system, from CRM, from PMS, from POS, and integrating that data and presenting that one view of the customer where the hotel staff or the hotel ambassadors can actually deliver that personal experience. So I think the key is in, making sure the technology is equipping the frontliners. So that's the bottom line, and that's how I would say, our endeavor is to make hotel team friendly first and then offer convenience to the guests because they can only run the technology. They have to be an important stakeholder and they have to be, bought into the concept.
Thank you. Let's turn to the audience. Are there any questions that you would like to ask any of the panelists?
Can we choose who gets not to ask a question?
There's a gentleman there. Yeah, do we have a microphone?
Hi, everyone. I just want to mention that also one of the key essential point to understand what type of technology you're going to put in your hotel is to know your guest. Some hotel brands are catered for senior people, not like the young generation. So in this type of hotels, I would invest more in admin-related IT part than the guest-related IT part. Because sometimes you go and find a phone, you don't know which button to push or whatever. And I'm in my mid-40s, which I consider like I have seen mobiles at least. So I guess this is one of the most essential part where to choose wisely what you're going to invest in, because sometimes technology doesn't make the life of the guest easier. It make it more difficult and create complaints, and complaints means the rating of the hotel might go down and things like that. So this is just an observation. I don't know, what do you think about it?
Well, that's a good point, right? And comes back to what Imran said initially, that we have to know what we invest in. Does it enhance the guest experience? So for that, we have to understand what are the guest needs. Does it make the operation more efficient and more profitable? And we can easily get excited about technology and then invest into gadgets, which help no one.
I think when your light switch panel in the room is smarter than you really feel overpowered by technology. So whenever I travel with kids, they usually help me figure it out. But no, on a more serious note, I totally agree with you. You got to get the portrait of your guest right, but yet at the same time, you can't preclude pretty much anyone from coming into the hotel, right? Yeah. It's not that I'm going to be refused if I'm 23 to come into the property that's potentially targeted at a more mature audience.
Sorry, I keep borrowing your mic. You make excellent points, and I think Olivier and Tatiana have already addressed the key aspects of you have a very good observation about catering to demand, catering to who you have in the hotel. But the challenge is that as a developer or a previous operator, and Elie is an operator, the problem is that demographics can change. You are building a hotel, you're developing a hotel, you're investing in technology. You need to invest in a baseline technology that enables you to stay relevant. There are some hotels, legacy hotels, that have been there for 30, 40, 50, 60, 80 years. The demographics have changed consistently. There were probably a certain group of 35 plus, 40 plus arriving there. Maybe it was male dominant, now it's female dominant. Maybe it was 45 plus, now it's 25 plus. So demographics can change, but you make an excellent point, but we need to make sure that we're not investing only for next 5-year horizon. We are investing for quite a long horizon. I mean, most of the hotel management agreements range between 20 years, 25 years. Some sign up 60 to 80 years agreements. So the technology investment has to be in line with what at best possible you can predict for the future.
Yeah.
I think one more thing to add, not for the sake of it, but I think we should not target just one demographic. I think whatever we implement, everyone should use 60-year-old, 40-year-old, male, female, kids, because sometimes new technology the kids won't know how to use because there are too many switches. So I think it should cater to all demographics.
Yeah,
And you know, it's not very actual for this part of the world. But for example, when I work in Europe and we come to convert a hotel, many of these hotels are historic buildings with very high status of protection. It is a nightmare to try to ingrain any technology into a historic building where you cannot touch a single piece of plaster on the wall. Right? Because in a lot of cases, it means installing things. I mean, it's even a nightmare to upgrade an AC system. Forget about the smart room or anything like that. But I mean, we're a little bit lucky in that sense here because pretty much everything is a new build.
Yeah. I would like also to bring in one point related to innovation, which is design. And in my experience, and maybe you will share that experience, sometimes things are over-designed. So we mentioned the light switch system, which sometimes looks very modern, very cool, but difficult to operate. And we have our friends from Grohe here at this conference. Think about the showers. So the state of the art now is what, 7 liters per minute, something like that for showers, 8 liters per minute. Sometimes I stand in a shower, it looks very nice, very well designed. I'm not talking about Grohe, I'm talking about general. By the time I figure out how the warm and cold water works, and how do I get, you know, either the handheld or the thing, I've wasted already 10 liters of water. So this is to me an example where, you know, we then go into design, and designers get very excited about designing things which look great, but which are not user-friendly. And this is innovation which is counterproductive.
I would say Digivalet can fix it.
In what sense?
We can
Because
only agree with you.
we've done smart showers and smart bathtubs in a hotel, where from the iPad you can set the temperature. You can say, keep this temperature for next, 1 hour till my entire spa experience, and fill the water tub for 1 people, 2 people bath experience. So and then it's going to maintain the temperature and everything till you are done with your. So
very nice. No. We have time for one more question. Anything from the audience? So then let's do a last round of questions, the panel. Very short. If you take out your crystal balls today, give me like a maximum 30-second insight into how do you see a typical hotel be different in 2050 than today? Let's start with you, Elie.
Going first, I may need a few more seconds. But 30 years ago, we didn't know where we're going to be today. 5 years ago, 2 years ago, we didn't know where we're going to be today. 30 years from now, if I want to be very practical, I could easily go with smart rooms and interactive walls and eco-friendly hotels and then food and health and wellness and all of that. But I would say more efficiency. If I want to think boring development, they're going to be more efficient. There's going to be a lower staff-to-room ratio. It doesn't mean we're going to have less focus on people, but focus on people who could do more. And I think we're going to have more efficient hotels, even in luxury hotels. So that's my short answer to that question. Not very exciting, but that's it.
okay, I will dream because it's 2050. So as a guest, probably the hotel would be made to order. So I can have something from Diriyah, something from Radisson, something from Ritz-Carlton, whatever I like, and I build my hotel room based on my preferences. And the entire hotel will be equipped with face recognition, so complete hands-free experience wherever I go. I can pay by just making myself recognizable. So those are the 2 things that I would wish for.
Thank you. Imran, by that time, the hotels will be open, for
By
sure.
that time, my mic will
Up and
work.
running.
Yeah.
Okay.
I would say, since you asked to keep it brief, that the essence of it or the core of it would remain. Hotels to stay relevant would be to make sure that they're giving independence and a more choice and a more options to the guests to do what they want to do, instead of us forcing them to do something that we think is innovative in the technology, and going with that. So for example, giving more liberty to the guest, and more choice to the guest, more option to the guest to be able to do what they want, instead of forcing them, that's the app you have to use, that's the hardware that you have to use. So I would say that it will be more tailored according to do what you like to do, according to your preference, basically.
I have two short answers to this. One, as a guest, I hope that in 2050 I come into a hotel room and my blanket is not tucked underneath my mattress. I hope by then they will figure it out.
That's easy to fix, I think.
I yet have to figure, this is anecdotal, but I yet have to figure out how it came about. I have a few ideas, but definitely not for people that are almost 2 meters tall as me. No, but on a serious note, I think it's about personalization and seamless experience. I don't want to figure out how to switch on and off the light or how to operate the shower. That is as a guest, and I want them to know that what I like for breakfast and what is the temperature that I like in my massage room. As far as the owner goes, I think it goes back to making hotels future-proof, which is the word that Rachana used, that I really like, and enabling me as an owner and an investor to build a hotel building that I will not need to reinvest into every 8 or 10 years. To keep it up to date, to keep it current, to keep it nice for the guest. So I think this goes back to the building technologies, to investing in materials that don't deteriorate that fast and that still deliver the luxury and hospitable experience to the person that's staying there.
Thank you. Well, you've been an amazing panel. Thank you for your insights and the great discussion. Please thank my panel.
Thank you.